Tonight, thanks for joining us for another podcast. Tonight we watched American Werewolf in London.
1981.
1981 is when it was filmed. So let's go around the room. What's your feedback on the film? Any initial feedback on the film?
It seemed like I knew exactly what was going to happen before it actually happened.
So
no surprises.
It followed the horror formula pretty well.
Yep.
What were some of the horror formulas that it followed?
Well, we had really stupid characters. Like, not one character expressed good judgment throughout this entire film.
What about the doctor?
The doctor was like, I don't know, the doctor just, okay, he was
starting to get it.
He was alright, but he was just, there was so much stupid going on there. Like, don't walk into the moor. Oh, we're in the moor? How did that happen?
Well, one trope of horror films is we have to have the setup, right? We have to have,
the pre-staging.
The pre-staging of the characters being introduced. And how did American Werewolf set up how did they set up these two college kids in this universe?
Oh, they just hitchhiked and dropped them in the middle of a town in nowhere, walking to a pub.
And were there some creepy events that were happening in this town in the middle of nowhere?
Well, in that town in the middle of nowhere, there's a spy pointing a star, and one of the guys gives a point to it, be like, "Hey, what's this? What's this?"
Well,
weird,
that was in the
thing?
pub after they got there. It was called the Slaughtered Lamb.
Oh, right, yeah. Even the pub name was strange. Because we're like, "Oh, that's strange. There's no lambs around here."
Now, what was the contrast that they? Because obviously they had to have a contrast to the pub scene when the two college kids were pointing to an a right side up star on the wall.
A 5-pointed.
So what happened before the room went silent of them pointing out that star? Do you guys remember how they
just walking in?
They set it up with the storytelling of that Englishman. The Englishman was a lively pub.
It got lively afterwards. They had to warm up to these guys because they were complete strangers walking in to this pub. And as soon as the door opened, the pub went silent.
Yep. Which indicated that they were kind of outsiders. Exactly.
Yeah.
And you'd mentioned that in England that actually does happen a lot when news.
It happened to me a couple of times.
Yeah. Has anybody else been?
But I have that way with people.
No, I've been in England. It's a fun, warm town and good folks. But yeah, they definitely are very cliquish per se in their pubs. Same with Ireland. But in that scene of pointing out "Beware" sign, basically is what they pointed out with the star. They had the contrast of the lively guy telling a story. He says, blah blah blah. This is a funny story. Gag gag gag. The whole bar is lit up with excitement of the story. And then when the college kid asks, "Why do you have the star on the wall?" The
pentagram.
The pentagram. The pub went immediately silent. And so
they kicked them out.
Yeah. Well, eventually. when
you made me miss.
Yeah. How did they set up the shock of that? With the describe how they set that up.
So they're talking about that whole pentagram stuff, and then it just cuts to this dart hitting the wall.
Before that, when we get into the introduction of the scene, we see that the dart player is bullseye after bullseye after bullseye. There's a very little, like maybe 2.5 to 3.5 second where you're seeing the younger kids playing the darts, and it's bullseye after bullseye. I mean, literally all of his shots are around that bullseye, and then we're just hearing him play the darts in the background. So we're never seeing the dart player miss the bullseye by any stretch of the imagination. So when we get to the shot of them asking, why is that pentagram on the wall, and we see the dart miss the whole dartboard. We know that who's throwing the dart, and we know something's awry. Because of the setup of that dart throw, which is good in horror films. I'm not an expert in horror films. I'll have to refer to Heidi on that. But it's a good setup to contrast the prior stuff. Everything's going perfect. And then when they ask about the pentagram, that's where the record goes, or however that sound, that squeak of the record. But in order for that record to make that sound, they had to have the setup of normality of the scene. So that is one thing that they were setting up. What else did they set up with the first act? repeatedly.
Oh, and from the very beginning, they were told even when they were hitchhiking
Yep.
to stay on the roads and stay away from the moors.
Yep. And beware of the moon, right? Now, how did they do that clever?
How do you beware of a moon? It's a full moon. It's a full moon.
How did we know after the people at the bar kicked them out of the bar? How did we know that the people at the bar were in on the legend or the werewolf roaming their town?
The barkeep was all, you shouldn't have let him go.
Yeah. So there's something that the town knew in advance that, that they all knew in advance, so thus they can send them out. How did they reveal when the two college kids were walking? How did they reveal that they were off the road?
By being out in the moors. And then when they were talking about it, they started realizing we're not supposed to be in the moors. Oh, we're in the moors.
They had a medium shot on the characters talking about how kind of creepy it was and how dark it was. And then when they recited the warning sign, they said, don't get off the road. That medium shot turned into a wide shot as they looked down, and then we all, as a viewer, we realized...
No, it stuck as a medium. You just look down.
Oh, was it really?
Oops.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay.
But then you start hearing the echoes of the...
Like, how did this happen again?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love the sound effect of that werewolf, that howling of the werewolf. It's just, and yes, maybe there's been better, creepier sound effects than that, but I love how that's got to be a mixture of variety of animals that they use to get that howling. But that still that still would be a creepy as heck sound to be hearing, anywhere late at night,
For sure.
Absolutely. So we get to the attack of the werewolf, right? The werewolf attacks them. Do the main characters, do they bond together and fight off the werewolf, or what happens at that moment?
Yeah.
What happens at that moment when Dave and Jack are being attacked by the werewolf?
Dave runs, and
he runs for a good
40
seconds.
while.
He literally takes out and leaves
Then he
Jack
realizes
for
Jack
himself.
is
like,
in,
oh wait,
in the clutches of the werewolf.
Jack.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So it basically was every man for themselves at that moment, right?
Yeah.
Yes, until it wasn't, and at that point, he would have been better off just continuing to run.
Oh yeah, absolutely. As Jack's being eaten by the werewolf. Right?
Yeah.
Now, you say to yourself, what took Jack so long to register in his brain to go back to look for Jack? Or no, what took Dave so long to go back to look for Jack? Now, why do you think it took Dave so long to go back and look for Jack?
He thought Jack was with him.
I would say that it was raw panic. I would say that when panic hits, your adrenaline's going and you're basically self preservation. Let me give you an example. Back in college, me and some buddies, we just got together after college and we regrouped together in a park called Lair of the Bear. Now, prior to the bear cubs showing up and the mama showing up, we had just been talking about how we're comrades, we're friends to the end, we'll be each other's comrades forever and ever. And all of a sudden, over the ridge comes two little bear cubs. We see them in the silhouettes. And when you see the bear cubs, then you see Mama Bear coming over the ridge. And to my shame, all of us went in every different direction. So, yes, I'm embarrassed with that story. But the point is that without even thinking, it turned into flight. And so I'm saying that at that moment, Dave was just basically looking after himself before logic jumped in. He's like, wait a minute, my friend probably is being eaten by But have you guys ever had a moment where something has scared you so bad that you just instinctually started running away from it?
I think it's happened over.
Have you ever dealt with a mountain lion in the wild or a bear in the wild or any of that?
Creepy secretary?
Yeah. What did you deal with in the wild?
I was just told to just stand your ground and you just stand tall.
No, but have you dealt with that?
Yeah, they came near our camp. There was
okay.
a mama bear and two baby bears.
And how did you respond to that?
I don't know. They don't really do anything. They kind of do their own thing. I mean, they were near, but they weren't aggressive or
like
anything.
within a few feet or within 500 yards.
They've been as close to as that door.
Wow.
Oh, very nice. Well, I gotta say that you were a lot braver than me.
But it's not my choice. I just walk outside and they're right there. Like, it's not like I went up to them.
You didn't just go punch him in the nose?
No.
Listen, bear. So Heidi has just admit she wrestles bears for fun. So that's how it goes.
Michael said he had this scary thing with the bear, but he he said that it was just, if you just stand, you're tall or make noise, or just don't put your guard down.
Sure.
Don't turn your back.
Yeah.
That's
sometimes it's hard to be logical.
Well, they're black bears. Black bears are easier.
Yeah.
I don't know about grizzlies. I don't know what I would do.
No, it was a black bear that was coming with a rage, but all of us were pansies. So there you go. As it happened. But I've also come across a mountain lion fly fishing and then a bobcat fly fishing. But both a mountain lion and the bobcat were across the river. So my instinct to run wasn't as dominant.
Do bobcats do anything? I've chased bobcats.
Really?
They don't do anything.
Are they smaller though?
Oh yeah, they're like this big.
Yeah. I'm just saying I didn't run from the bobcat, all right?
I don't know, but I hear people like, bobcats. And I was like, they don't.
They still close enough.
Maybe
they can
you
do
get
some
close
damage.
enough.
Yeah.
I'm sure that
But
thing
you
will
could
bite.
kick them.
Yeah.
Like they're big small dogs.
Animal cruelty. No
Yeah.
bobcats were harmed.
Yeah.
Well, if they attack you, I think you get to kick them.
Yeah, no, I agree. So when Alex and Jack.
David and Jack.
You're great.
I'm
with names.
Alex was the name
the
of
only
the
one.
nurse. Of the nurse, that's right. When they initially started running away from the werewolf, I would make a case that basically it was just raw instinct of run away.
Really, it was just David who ran away. By that time, Jack was pretty much done.
Yeah, he was pretty beaten up as it was. Now, who came to save David and Jack at the last minute from the werewolf?
The bar guys.
Yeah, and did they shoot him with silver bullets?
I think they were regular.
They didn't say.
In this universe, regular bullets put out a werewolf down instead of the silver bullets. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Because the military was putting in regular bullets as well. And
I noticed a lot of references to Universal. There was at least 2 lines in the film that were joking about the Universal werewolf, Universal Studios.
yeah,
werewolf.
the first what is it? That's just called Wolfman, right?
Yeah, well, it was. Yeah, there was the one with Bela Lugosi and Lon Chaney, or Lon Chaney Jr.
What did I say that 4 or 5 times?
Was Casablanca by Universal, or was that just
They've done a lot of flicks, I'm
really
sure.
old movie? Because they had a Casablanca poster.
She had it.
Yeah,
Alex.
Alex had it.
Alex had it. Okay.
I'm sure of it because they're not going to let other studio posters in their films.
So let's fast forward to David in the hospital and the introduction to the love interest. The love interest.
Also the pervy nurse.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Tell us who wants to tell us the scene of the pervy nurse's gag when Dave was admitted to the hospital.
What? Is that
Do you
necessary to the
remember?
story?
Okay, fine. Yes,
Oh,
that
yes, I checked.
that is a crucial plot
It
point.
was just her comment that he's Jewish. Like, that's all you learned.
Well, no. Had she not had a look-see, as she calls it in proper British form, I had a look-see.
Yeah, but wait a second. If they're going on about, I don't know, religion and stuff, isn't the doctor's last name was Jewish?
Was it? I didn't catch it.
There's a lot of things about being Jewish.
Yeah, kind of an interesting.
Yeah. Oh, in England?
Yeah.
Well, no, these characters.
Yeah,
There was I forget the house they went to, but he had like a bunch of menorahs on.
Oh, did he?
The house where the Nazi wolves came in.
Oh, that was his dream.
Oh, yeah, that was
his
his
dream.
dream.
Yeah, he just had like
My
hundreds of
childhood, it's
menorahs.
just they keep menorahs everywhere.
Yeah, well, all right, fair enough. Okay, so we get Dave to the hospital, right? And we start to introduce him to his love interest, Alex, right?
Yes.
Get these names right. Okay, now how did they in the story how did they foreshadow Dave's possible werewolf?
With his friend coming back.
More before that, they did that with dreams. Remember he kept going through the forest naked, and we joked that's how Jennifer does her morning jog.
A la Evil Dead.
She's like, I'd like to say for the record, I did not do that. Fine. It's just Rich. Rich is out there. No,
I'm out in Malibu all the time.
Exactly. Funny side note: Bear Grylls actually every morning he owns his own private island, and he
also
jumps
bought a
off.
house in Malibu.
Did he really? Oh,
Yeah.
lucky bastard. He's worth like about $14 million. But anyway,
and he fakes a lot of it.
Back to the naked morning thing. Is he every morning he dives off his private cliffs naked into the ocean, and he did jokingly he did a selfie and sent it to a friend, but he didn't realize the angle was a little bit wrong, where it was more revealing than he wanted it to be, and of course his friend showed the world. So,
What a friend.
I know.
That's
So
what
let that be a
you
lesson
get
to you.
when
That's
you
right.
share naked photos of
That
yourself
is
jumping
correct.
off a
That
cliff.
is correct. So it's all good. So how they foreshadowed David being a werewolf was through his dreams. The dream of him.
Oh right,
running-
he attacked a deer and just went for the jugular, and
Went
suddenly
for
he's
the
eating a hind leg. Okay.
And what was the joke? We were wondering if they ever made a vegetarian werewolf. Would you go see a vegetarian? But I guess they have a vegetarian vampire film.
Yes,
out there,
they
don't
do. It's called Twilight.
Oh,
Makes me never want to see that
But he
vegetarian
has
werewolf
sparkly.
again.
And,
What do they eat? Do they drink it like Banicula? Is that
Yeah,
what it
No,
is?
they only
Manipulative.
eat animal blood.
Are
they
they
don't
not
That's not
vegetarian?
vegetarian. Is it gluten free?
I don't know. I
But it,
did not.
I think it's more like they're not
Enjoy it.
humanitarians because they don't eat humans.
Humanitarian.
Humanitarian.
Humanitarian. Is that a real word?
It is now.
It is
I'm
now.
a humanitarian.
So through David's dreams, we're getting the foreshadowing of something's awry. He keeps dreaming about him running naked through the forest. He keeps dreaming about tell the story about the creatures coming to visit him at his house.
Oh, well, the first one was his friend Jack.
No. With the Nazi helmets.
Oh, the house scene was supposed to be his family, just an everyday thing with his family, and then suddenly have it was Nazi werewolves.
So we set up a nice kind of Christmassy scene, kind of, if you will.
Or
Well,
but in
Hanukkah.
his case,
A Hanukkah scene. Yeah, sorry.
With
And
their
I'm
menorah
apologizing.
collection.
Yeah, it's
But,
like,
They have a
not just
menorah
one.
lifestyle.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is the transition in this film was really nicely cut together. So when we had David in the hospital, and then we cut to this nice Hanukkah scene, it wasn't as if we were jumping into a dream.
No, they're watching TV, enjoying the time, and then the dad's like, "I gotta get the door."
And
I'll
it shows
get it.
up werewolves with Nazi helmets and machine guns
Yeah.
that plow down the whole family.
Oh yeah.
But the way it was cut, the viewer was thinking, well, Dave must have been what do you call it when you're discharged from the hospispittal?
Yeah.
And now he's back home with his family celebrating Hanukkah.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, because they cut that pretty comfortably, where you weren't. They didn't do any dream. We're going. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Star.
It's cutting straight to the television screen where they product place the Muppets.
Yeah, exactly.
Vaseline on it
Uh-huh.
on the lens to make it look like a dream sequence.
Yeah, exactly. And so when the werewolves came in with the Nazi helmets and blew everybody away, it was a little bit startling. But they took it a little bit further with his dreams, as they did the gotcha moment with. They said, they
were holding him by the neck with a knife, letting him watch everything.
And then David woke up to have Alex there by the bed, and Alex says something to the effect of,
You gotta kill yourself.
No, that wasn't Alex.
That was Jack.
That was
Sorry. We're getting the names all mixed up.
No.
Yeah, it was a
Alex
Alex
was by the bed, and she said, "Oh, you're having a nightmare. Let me go open
Let me go get you some drugs.
Let me go open up these curtains." And what came out of the curtains?
Surprise! There's another Nazi. Hey, yes.
Exactly. And obviously, as a kid, I didn't expect another Nazis coming out of the bed and other things. So
Well, that was the thing to do
scary.
back in the early '80s with the slasher flicks. You always think there's an end, and then it continues.
It was like
They
dream
did that
after
with-
dream after dream.
They
Fake
did that
out.
with Friday the 13th. They did it with.
Oh, did they do it Friday the 13th?
Yeah, and Halloween, of course.
And then with Freddy, it just was a constant dream.
Yeah.
like forget coming out of the dream. You are in the dream nonstop to die.
Yeah.
So
And then at some point in the 80s or 90s, people got sick of seeing that shit.
Yeah, I guess so.
And then we had
How many
Inception.
times?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we obviously are getting the foreshadowing of David. He's going to be something in the future. Now, what solidifies the fact that David's going to be a werewolf that we get in the hospital?
His friend comes to see him,
What's the name of his friend?
Jack.
And was Jack in his tuxedo? Was he in his best dress? How did Jack?
He was decomposing.
In a way too early stage of decomp for 21 days after the fact.
What did you think of the practical effects on Jack?
I thought they were pretty fun.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say like they were like realistic, but they were fun.
The floppy skin parts, the blood, the
they were very what do you call it? With they were with style. They were stylized.
Yeah.
Oh, and a lot of that, if
Very
you look
campy.
closely when he eats stuff, you could see it pass through his.
Oh,
That was the second time, though.
But you don't
Didn't
see it
start-
the first time. You're looking for it, but you gotta look for it.
So the second time when they're in the porno theater?
No, when you're seeing it.
No, the third time was the porno theater.
Okay,
The second time was her apartment.
Oh, okay. I guess
when
that's
they're
what
in the theater, he's almost skeletized, and he goes to itch his nose, and part of it
He's
falls
like
off.
literally a Muppet at that
Oh,
point.
yeah, okay. So we're solidified the fact that David is going to be a werewolf because Jack basically comes and says, you're a werewolf, and gives David rules. What's the rules that he gives David about him being a werewolf?
Go kill yourself.
Bingo, that's the one you... Yeah, exactly. Basically, Dave, in order for me... in order for Jack to stop walking the earth as the undead, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Dave had to kill himself because he was the bloodline of the werewolf.
As long as the werewolf bloodline is still alive, then all of the werewolf's victims are stuck roaming the earth as zombies.
Yep. And so those ground rules are laid out for us for Act 2 when things go awry, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have the ground rules of the universe. We have the ground rules that there's going to be Walking Dead, that David needs to kill himself, is not, et cetera, et cetera. All right. So then we go on to the love story of Alex and David, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, the doctor visits the small little town in London.
He's a little
Why?
suspicious.
Oh, let's talk about the police report. The great detective
The
work.
Scotland Yard comes in.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
They had a blundering one and a
No
semi-smart
nonsense one.
And did they do hardcore investigation to figure out what caused the death of Jack?
Absolutely not.
How did they close the case? Basically, how did they close it? I forget. Do you remember how they closed the case on that
Let's
one?
have an
It sounded like they were
interview.
just done.
Yeah, they kind of went in with the conclusion. It was a madman that attacked you, and we have 2 eyewitnesses. Therefore, this case needs to go no further, right?
I'm pretty much
something-
interviewing you for absolutely no reason.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Anything you say, we're just going to say you're crazy and go with what we think.
Now, what made the blundering character work?
Oh, the blundering.
The blundering
Dumb
detective.
cop.
The blundering
Detective
detective.
guy.
What made the blundering detective work?
He was tall. The other guy was short, and he would do little pratfalls.
Good. Yeah, his actions.
And they were timed off of the
In
first guy.
contrast to the first guy. I do a lot of contrast in these questions. The reason why is because it is the contrast that tells the definition of the other one. So one detective was a stick in the mud, relatively speaking, right? And then the dumb cuff was tripping over himself, knocking things down. And what made
Just
it funny
following it.
is just like in comedy. What's it called in comedy where you have your serious characters and then the dumb cuffs?
Foils?
Foils? Is that what it is?
Cough.
Yeah, that are around them. And so it's important to have that contrast of the characters to make one of them, more specific. Okay, so obviously the detectives did a horrible job on finding out the facts about this case. The doctor seemed to be like the only reasonable one in the film, right? I mean, he seemed like a logical individual, right?
Yeah.
I mean, out of
He
all,
didn't really try as hard as he could.
Well, why do you think that is?
Well, he did. But jump into the end. He did offer to send either a cop or did he say I'm sending a cop if he doesn't go willingly?
Yeah, something like that. I think.
Yeah, he probably should have just said, "Okay, I'm just sending the police for you." But then again, the police wouldn't have believed him.
That was
yeah.
What did make the doctor, going back to Act 2, what made the doctor go to the small village of what was it called, the lamb slaughter?
No, that was the pub.
The pub. What made the doctor? Do you remember what made the doctor go to that? I don't remember what motivated him.
I think it was just the main character.
Oh yeah.
He wakes up
How
naked
come
in the
he
zoo.
was?
Is it at that
He
point?
was dressed. He was his wounds were dressed. His all this stuff, and he was the only doctor to have seen him, so he didn't do it.
Yeah.
So he had to figure out who did it.
So Dave's wounds were dressed, and the doctor was a little suspicious of that as well. And so something wasn't
because
making
no
sense.
one was making any claim that
Yeah.
they took care of him or anything while he was in that moor.
And Dave when Dave first heard the news that he was a werewolf, he really laughed it off and shared it with everyone, didn't he?
Yeah.
He's just like, yeah, I'm going crazy. He said that phrase actually a lot. and everyone, no one seemed to be bothered by that phrase. Matter of fact, Alex was like, "You're going crazy. Come live with me."
Yeah,
it was pretty much what
She's into crazy.
She's like, "Excellent. Here's my apartment. Come snuggle up
It's
with
a
me."
marvelous night for a moon dance.
That was good. So Dave moves in with Alex, and we're getting the setup for, in werewolf films. It is the transformation that is the money shot. It's whatever most people look for when they go see werewolf films. I love werewolves because there is no negotiating with a werewolf. They just want to kill you. Like with a vampire, you have a little bit of
you got a cross,
a little bit of cross or something to negotiate.
What if it's a Jewish vampire?
Yeah. He's like,
You just throw the right stand at them. They're,
He's like,
they're OCD. You want to count everything.
Exactly. But with a werewolf, there is no negotiation with a werewolf. They're just want to kill you. Is pretty much how it works.
Well, because they're wolves.
Yeah, correct. I felt like with the latest rendition of werewolves, with Rise of the Lycans and Underworld and stuff like that, I felt like they've cheated us a lot on the transformation scenes because they happen so fast.
It's all CG, and that's how timing on the films these days.
Yeah, it happens so fast, and you don't get to appreciate the fun transformation of the werewolf. So I do like that about this.
They spent a lot of money on that special effect too.
Yeah, so let's talk about the height of this film, which is always pointing to is the transformation of the werewolf. I believe that this was the first time the werewolf transformation was a painful transformation. I don't know of any werewolf movie where it was because like in the Wolfman it just was.
It was different fade shots.
Yeah.
Stills, because that was the 40s. This was a lot more sophisticated. They took armatures. They had puppets made. They had hair growing out of the skin and stuff, and they filmed a lot of shit backwards.
Yeah, really cool. On the hair stuff, basically they forward it would be the hair being pulled into the skin, and then they reversed the film to make it look like it was going out of the skin. And same with the mask. They actually have a mask that pushed out on the rubber mask to push out the skull, and then the hand. They actually had a practical hand that grew as his hand was growing large. And if you look at it, you can see that he's standing in front of a screen as his hand's growing big.
Yeah.
In front of him. And then
at that time, that was amazing.
No, but it still holds up nicely.
It was exciting to watch, and you wanted to see more of it.
Oh yeah. I mean, it still looks painful as hell.
Yeah, well, it's good acting and stuff, and now you start to realize that you're looking at it on a small screen.
Sure.
That there was a lot of use of the actor in strange prosthesis because they would have him set into the floor while he's doing agonizing looks with his head while the rest of his fake, and then growing from the torso. Yeah. The pieces of the final bits where his face is growing was a complete puppet, and it was just really, really well done. Just good shots, good cuts, and very, very, very good use of space. And
Oh yeah. No, that's one of my favorite werewolf transformation scenes. Okay, so the monster is released into the city. Did you guys enjoy the monster's kills? I mean, there was some pretty great trope kills with
especially because of how dumb the victims were.
Absolutely.
They just walk out.
Absolutely.
It's like,
the poor guy in the subway.
Oh wait, let's talk about the first couple. The
drunk guy.
Oh, that was great.
They get out of the cab, and instead of going through the front door, which she suggested, where do they go? They go to the dark alley, and they're like, let's go around the back
way.
We'll surprise them.
I can almost see the next line. Let's get slaughtered.
Oh yeah, I know, seriously. And so the host of the party that they're going to, his wife sends him out to see why the guests are taking so long.
He's still got the wine in his hand.
And what were some of the lines that he said?
Is anybody there?
Who's there? Very proper.
Is anybody there?
And he really goes deep into the part to find out who's there. He could have just done it from
I feel like he was wanting to go, is anyone out there? No, see, I told you we were wrong. And I could almost see the wife going,
Yeah.
investigate.
Oh, yeah.
She just stood there and stared at him going,
I know.
What are you doing?
So basically, it's his wife's fault that he went out and died. Had she not pushed so hard, So he died. Investigating where the guests were, and then how about the proper guy in the subway that
bought condoms?
Actually, he was so proper. What did he say when the wolf? Or he just heard the wolf down the hall. He said something like, "If you think this is amusing, well, it's not," or something like that. Remember?
Yeah, I'm
But
going
he
to
did it with like a British accent. So, but
I
again,
think this is amusing.
yeah.
It's really not.
But again, in all of these death scenes, they do what good horror films do: is the anticipation. I mean, Aliens did this brilliantly. How long does that wait on Aliens before somebody dies? Isn't it like a 2? It's almost like Alien. Sorry, the first one.
Oh.
Alien. It's almost like a 10-minute wait. We're waiting for the alien to attack the first kill. Do you guys remember that?
And this doesn't count the guy with the chest burster?
No. I'm talking about when the alien's killing somebody and it heightens
after, I guess.
And it heightens the.
So the second kill in Alien.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Well, it had to grow.
It needs time to kill. It heightens the tension of the audience because it makes them. The audience knows something awful is going to happen, and if it happened really fast, it's not nearly as fun as a scare.
And was that the one where they faked it out with the cat?
Yes.
The second kill?
Was that? Yeah. Maybe it was. But the point is in the horror film, it is in the waiting that makes those kills so deliciously
Well, that was the pacing
wonderful.
of that period too. Because late 70s, early 80s, the pacing was slower than a lot of
films. Do they do that now with horror films? Making the kill a lot longer, drawn out?
No.
And the good ones. It just depends. There's such a mixed bag that comes out now.
What's like the latest really good horror film that really you're excited about? Anything?
Well, there's one I want to see called like The Witch or The Witches or something.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. No, but I unfortunately my mind just keeps going like to the Saw series and the other kind of.
They're doing a remake of the Blair Witch.
I know.
I can't
don't
believe
know
that.
No, I don't know. Okay, so we have the monster has killed has done his kills. Now, how do they've just brought the audience to be full with nothing but anxiety. How do they bring the audience down after the monster has been released? Well, what happens the next day to?
Oh, well, you're talking. Yeah, but you missed out on the three. The three.
Oh, the homeless. I'm a bum. Yeah,
I'm
a bum. I forgot about the bums.
Because I've been to London a couple of times, and I think that was a park. There's a park right there across the London Bridge.
Oh, is there?
And I think they just dressed it up to look like they had a bunch of dumbed down cars and greasy shit, and I'm thinking, I've been there a bunch of times. That's not there. But it's how they dress up the place to make it look like that. Yeah.
I thought I remembered like when he ate the bums, he got drunk from eating the bums, but that may have been that may have been another horror film that I saw with the werewolf eating, because I thought I remember one werewolf when he ate whatever the victim was on, it would affect the werewolf.
That sounds like an Abbott and Costello.
I forget what it was. Maybe that Okay, so we have the kills that have happened. The audience is full of anxiety. How does the director bring that anxiety down out of the audience with the next morning where we find Dave? How?
They did a transition because it shows him. Well, what I think the audience would expect, Dave as the werewolf attacking blah, but on the face close up, it wasn't a werewolf face; it was a lion's face.
Yeah.
So that was a nice transition. And then
it was in a zoo. That's where you got this establishing
animals.
shot of the zoo.
Yeah, the transitions in this films are wonderful. Yeah. And we put
Dave
in
a wolf cage
in a comedy situation. So we went from drama, death, to now a comedy situation where Dave is in a wolf cave, butt naked.
Of course, if you're particularly genre savvy, you'd know that all that drama would still feel like comedy the way they just kind of.
At the time,
that's John Landis.
Is anybody there?
That's right. That's true. All right. So we bring the audience down, and then Dave has to run back to the apartment with the. How does Dave cover up from going from the zoo back to the apartment?
He steals balloons from a small child.
And what is this?
Stole a woman's coat off of a park bench.
And nowadays that's normal attire in LA. But how did they set up the oddness of him in a woman's coat when he's waiting in line?
For the bus?
Yeah, they show a bunch of legs, all of them wearing red shoes.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, just his legs.
And then he has no shoes on.
No shoes, no socks, just hairy legs. Very pasty American legs. So
when he gets back to Alex's apartment, is he ashamed of what he's done? Is he sad about what he's did?
He feels awesome.
He's pretty. I know he's like on fire. He's like, yes, but he doesn't know why. Yeah, he doesn't know why. He doesn't know why. This is true. Okay, so then we get to Dave realizes he's the werewolf, and I stepped out for a minute. How do you get to the porno film with Jack?
He sees Jack across the street after he's trying to get arrested. Jack's standing there decomposing in front of the porno theater, and then he just walks in, and David chases him into the porno theater.
And then actually we get more comedy with the introduction of...
Yes, that scene was awesome.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that scene.
Alright, so they get in the porno theater, and Jack's in the back row, and he's waving David over. David goes in, and he's like, "Hey, David, you have to kill yourself." And then David's just like, "Shit." And so Jack turns around, and he's like, "Oh, you gotta kill yourself now, because now we've got these guys. I'm gonna introduce you to some people." And it turns out these are all the people he's killed in the early stage of decomp. So they're, like, all campishly bloody and guts, like, the first day that we saw Jack.
But I love the couple.
Yes.
Because you got the one guy who's all morbid about it. It's like, "I've got kids and they're going to grow up without a father." And this couple is like, "Hi."
And they're like, "Oh," and then they're all suggesting ways for him to off himself.
Oh, yeah.
Like, take some pills. Oh, no, that's,
How about a gun?
A gun. Just put it in your mouth and you won't miss.
And it was interesting in that scene, the setting of obviously being a porno film, our porno theater, added a little more texture to that scene. Had that scene happened like maybe on the bus station or something like that, I don't think it would have been as interesting.
Yeah, because you get to watch this completely ridiculous porno too.
Yeah, and you kind of chuckle at the obnoxious of it. Okay, so we fast forward to the werewolf transforms again, and then now he's on the loose. And he's actually on the loose in the theater, right?
Yes, he kills an entire porno audience.
pretty much. What did you guys think of when we finally get to see the monster? Any thoughts on that?
That looks very animatronic, like those little dogs that you see in the toy stores, where they just wander about on batteries.
Yeah. I liked it. I still like how badass that werewolf looked, because that looked like a mean ass dog.
When he bit the guy's head off was kind of funny. Yeah. I looked at it because his teeth were way rubber. And then the next scene, they're just tossing this head across the. It was fun.
So we get to the final act where Alex and the Doctor are racing to save Dave from the military, I guess, in a dark alley, right? And Dave had priorly told Alex that he loves her. So thus, when she says "I love you" to a crazy ass werewolf, it adds meaning to the whole story and brings it as a full circle. Right? Now, did you feel Alex was a really fleshed out character?
No.
No, but so some of the things like I was just thinking about was the fact that they're Jewish comes up a lot, and the fact that like in every scene David, like, he stands out in some way. Like, the costume designers were really, really, really good in this movie.
Be more specific.
So I noticed, like, at the very first scene when you see them, they jump out of the back of that truck, and the main character, we know who he is right away because he's wearing a bright red jacket, and his friend is wearing a super muted green jacket.
And I saw
everybody
that
else
earlier.
is wearing muted earth tones.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was interesting because that was so planned ahead then, because when he was all green and it blended in right with his jacket, and the second time they see him. But besides that, I feel like there's something about either it's like lost in translation. I'm saying what like the bigger picture is like, does he feel like a monster because he's in a different country and he feels like everything I do, I don't fit in. And every moment in that movie, he does something where he doesn't fit in. Whereas like a New York NYU shirt, he wears that. He gets like that woman's jacket and is walking around. He's screaming at police officers to arrest him. You know, and then he goes into a porno theater, and every single moment in this movie, he's not fitting in at all. And then being Jewish, and they point that out, I think they're just, I don't know, it's like how that society just, I don't know, it's something about being Jewish. Some
subtext there that might not have easily been diverged.
So like when he has that dream and the Nazi wolf people or whatever are gunning them down, it's like about the persecution. So it's something
of
about
course they're
persecution.
Nazis.
Yeah.
It's not just complete idiot. Oh, hey, let's throw Nazis in this movie.
Because it feels very random,
Yeah.
and I don't feel like it should be that random. And because it has to be a reason there's 100 menorahs in that room. Like why there has to be a reason that they're driving that home. So there's something about feeling isolated or alienated or not fitting in is something about this movie. And I think the only thing I think that's interesting about the lady character who fell in love with him, because a lot of times they'll show movies where guys fall in love with a woman because she's like exotic or different, but I think that's the reverse. I think she's interested in him because he's exotic, he's different, Jewish taboo or whatever. So, because she doesn't say, like, the way she, like, likes him is very superficial. She's like, I'm just very attracted to you. I'm just really into you.
I'm really into you because this is a movie and you're the main character and I'm the only girl with a real name.
It definitely was cardboard acting, but you know, because they were telling you about their emotions and feelings instead of just, you know, like displaying it. But, you know, it still was a fun, campy one to visit over and over again. So, you know,
the only thing is, it feels like two different people wrote this movie.
Really?
Because it changes so tonally. Because some people would say this is a horror movie, but I would say this is a comedy. I wouldn't put this as a horror movie.
Yeah, there's really nothing scary about this movie.
A lot of people had that problem with it when it came out.
Yeah.
It didn't get panned in the theaters, but it definitely had a dual personality.
Yeah.
It's two different genres. And it somehow works and doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because like the whole like the porn scene where he's meeting all the people he killed, like it's like funny, but then he goes out and kills people and it's supposed to be serious. So is it funny or is it serious?
Yeah.
Like that. I don't know what they were trying to tell me how to feel about it.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
No, you're correct on that. I have a little bit of rose-colored glasses on because I saw it as a kid. I was like, oh, this is great. So it's hard for me to not be too objective about it because, you know, it has fond memories for me. So, yeah.
Oh, and I think I put something together. It's a film put together by an American company and everything. They have really, really strict practices of having Americans in films shot in England. So they had problems with getting permits for at least the usual thing is 2 people. They wanted 4, and how I think Frank Oz ended up in this is because he was part of the Muppets crew, and Muppets was filmed in England.
Oh,
the original Muppets TV show, and so he probably was a regular citizen over there. They had no problem having him. And then you see the Muppets in there, so it's almost a nod to that, to the show, so that they can have something shown on TV, make it look natural.
Sure.
And at the time, it was the Muppet Show.
Yeah, it definitely does seem like a mixture of odd genres that they're not quite sure which way to go with the story that they're telling. But
yeah, it's just Well, also, I don't know did John Landis, did he write it? I don't know anything about him.
He wrote it. It was supposed to be his different thing because he's already he'd already done 2 big comedies, which was Animal House and.
But does he have like a British background or anything?
I don't believe so.
Because like one of the things was like I don't like, and we touched on it, but everyone who's British, like we kind of. They were just like they were cold, or like it felt like there was a criticism on British culture in that movie.
Yeah.
Like there was something about like the way like the cops were just complacent and nobody like it was like it had to be pushed to the very end for them to do anything.
You know what it is? It comes off maybe as it was written and probably directed by an American with not a whole lot of knowledge.
I mean, it could have been like, but yeah, I don't know.
But even the Brits make fun of their stuffiness and their proper Monty Python. That's one of their favorite gags was schoolboys being bad but to American they're like, why is that funny? So
the Hell's Grannies was my favorite.
Yeah. Well, I guess it was like the stuff they had that were the humor for the British people. It felt like stuff I've seen in British humor, like the whole like scene where he's talking to the dead people that he killed. Like that felt like a it could have been British
humor,
people writing that. So that's why I wonder because it felt like kind of like a cynical look
Like Black
On-
Books.
On British people.
Sure, yeah.
On what?
Black Books. It's this British comedy that I watched occasionally. Very dry.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. British
Like a
stuff is
lot
not
of it's
dry.
just in the delivery.
Sure. Yeah. That's true.
I just like the fact that a lot of the writing and going off of it, but the writing in Monty Python, one of the funnier writers was American.
Yeah.
It's just making fun of the culture.
Right.
And yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a mixed bag.
All right, so let's sign out before I get. I'm sorry, guys, for getting this so long. This is Rick. Thanks for listening.
This is Zelda. Let's hope it doesn't erase itself.
I know.
This is Rich.
And this is Jennifer.
And Heidi.
Thank you. We'll talk to you next time.